story that I did for The Sloth, which is our Thursday night counterpoint to No Shame Theater. That's right, Thursday nights, any of you can come and tell your stories, your very own 5-minute story, right in this room starting at 7 o'clock. Sign up is at 6:45, and The Sloth is followed by our weekly No Shame workshop, where we put together the skits that you see here at our monthly shows. So this is kind of a repurposed Sloth called Coming to Eugene, which is just one part of a 17-part series. In the summer of 1979, I had recently graduated from high school and was seeing a therapist, and my mother couldn't wait to get me packed up and out of the house. My stepbrother Ward, who was often referred to as Wardy Tiger, and I both graduated in June, and my mother soon noticed that Wardy Tiger hadn't moved out yet and was still kind of hanging around the house. So she rented an apartment in a schmancy building downtown with a view of the lake and left. Wardy Tiger moved out shortly thereafter, when one day my stepfather looked up from the Wall Street Journal and noticed that my mother didn't seem to be around anymore. Fortunately, I got to stay through the end of the summer until I was unceremoniously deposited in Eugene and was told to go to something called college. I had no idea why I was here. That evening, out of desperation, I went to, and I kid you not, something called the Freshman Ice Cream Social in the EMU cafeteria. Maybe I'll meet a girl, I thought, but instead I met a guy named Fred, who had really long, really straight burgundy-colored hair, horrendous acne, dorky-looking tinted glasses that were about a half an inch thick, and said things like, "Hey man, that's far out," because that's how people still talked in the late 70s. He looked like a cross between Velma and Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, and it was almost as if we looked at each other and thought, wow, he's as pathetic as I am. For the record, there were no girls at the ice cream social, just me and Fred. By this time, I had already decided that college was something that needed to be escaped from, and fortunately, I discovered a late-night coffee bar called The Loft, where I found musicians and backgammon and marijuana and coffee and everything, while wandering around idolizing John Lennon and wearing a t-shirt that said Sid Barrett is alive and laughing in Cambridge. The Loft was on Alder Street, up the stairs from a hot dog stand called Jeb's Good Dogs, run by Jeb Dumas, famous for the one line of dialogue that he had in the movie Animal House. "Do you mind if we dance with your dates?" Jeb, who was 6'9" and as gentle as the proverbial lamb, would tell me stories of San Francisco in the 60s and how he and Janis Joplin would go to the farmer's market and buy vegetables together. And I thought to myself, yeah, I think I can hang out with this guy. There was also a metaphysical bookstore downstairs, and I had my tarot cards read by the woman who worked there. She refused payment and said that maybe we could work out some sort of a trade, and I'm still trying to figure out what she meant by that, because sometimes I think that she may have accidentally cast some sort of spell on me, which is probably why I'm here tonight telling you about this, because I can no longer afford a therapist. The Loft was populated by ancient hippies in their 30s, writers and musicians, and I kind of moved in there. I have no idea what they sold at the Loft, probably, or how they stayed in business, probably herbal tea and hot chocolate and cookies baked by local hippies. I know that I had lunch there a few times, but it was mostly just for hanging out, one of the many Eugene hangouts in those days, like Mama's Home Fried Truck Stop, Zuzu's, and Lenny's Nosh Bar. And at the time, I always liked to ask people the following question. So man, where were you in the 60s? I asked everybody this question, and one evening I found myself talking to a hippie with long hair and a big beard, and he was wearing the John Lennon glasses, which of course made him extra cool as far as I was concerned, and I asked him, so man, where were you in the 60s? He kind of chuckled and said, how old do you think I am? To which I replied, I don't know, 35. And it turned out that he was 2 weeks younger than I was, which would have made him 17. So neither of us really remembered the 60s all that well, and I stopped asking people this question shortly thereafter. The Loft closed several months later, but by that point I had been led astray when a stunning British girl in pink satin came out of the darkness one evening and pinned a safety pin on my jacket, and I sold my Grateful Dead records, cut my hair, and started hanging out with the art maggots, the crowd that dressed in black did a lot of Xerox art, and danced to records by Generation X, the B-52s, and the Rosillas. Don't forget to come to the Sloth Thursday nights.